Oh boy, is this going to be a fun one we're going to get into. So, crossover, issue 11, the end of the last issue. We got the most, I don't want to say the most important thing Donny Cates ever did. Definitely the most egotistical, definitely the most creative. He put himself into his work, which I get it, man. It's cool. It's a smart idea. It hasn't really been done to the extent you're trying to do it. So I implore you to try. Like, that's cool. Trying is the most important thing. Now, this book, I've always been mixed on crossover. I've said that since day one. I think this book has a lot of great stuff going for it. I think it also has a lot of bad stuff going for it. And when you do something, when you do this, when you get so meta and put in your own head, you either hit the mark or you miss it. And one of the things I will give credit to is this book literally opens up with Donny Cates drawing a picture of himself jumping the shark. I think that's impressive. I think that is a self-awareness that is both arrogant and egotistical and comes across as like better than the viewer, which is something I always talk about. If you're going to do meta, you can't be smarter than your audience. It feels like it's smarter than the audience, but it's also like the audience knows what we're doing. I don't think there's anybody reading this comic book who doesn't get what we're doing. And that to me is the important thing. So we open up with a younger version of our main Pembleton guy here, and he's talking to a younger version of Donny Cates. This is an interview that took place in 2017. And you gotta commend Shaw for doing his artwork, because that looks just like Donny Cates. It looks great. Like, it is absolutely amazing the way he looks. So what happened? What is this all about? Well, we see the Pembleton here. He's kind of got like an outline for a series called Crossover. And it's basically, we made this idea and it kind of goes into the real world. So we see as like the emergence happens over Denver, Colorado. Donny Cates is the first person to actually leave the bubble of the dome. Like, he's the only person that escapes. They're like, you should be glad we didn't gun you down just there for being like the only person to come out of this weird bubble. Then a bunch of monsters come out and start killing people. Kind of scars Donny Cates. He gets a little bit, disjointed, a little bit broken. And he's trying to tell everybody, I'm not in control of this. Like, I didn't create this. I didn't do anything that happened there. It just kind of happened, man. It was kind of weird. Pembleton's like, yeah, but this, dude. He's like, this is supposed to be a love story. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure, man. That's a good part of like self-referential where I'm like, it did start off as a love story. Kind of like the first issues, you see Elle and Ryan kind of have a chemistry, but they're not really like the love story. So I guess that makes sense. Maybe he pitched it as a love story, and then when he told other creators are like, yeah, no, you can use powers. Yeah, no, you can use Madman. Like, yeah, you can put them in there. Spins out into something crazy. That I think is kind of the case that's going on here. Interesting. But Donnie in this story is trying to say, like, it's probably Jeff Shaw that did this. He was, like, drawn and he was really into it. I went to visit him in Colorado when that big explosion happened. That's kind of when my girlfriend, died. I think, be girlfriend in 2017, because when did he get married? I don't remember when he got married, but basically, yeah, it's just Donny Cates like, yeah, we made the story. There you go. I made the story. Now it's happening, and the worst part about it, there's no ending. So there's no ending to this story. That's meta, dude. Like, I get it, it's an ongoing. There never really is an ending. So that's kind of cool, I guess. And then we cut to the present day where modern Donny Cates, looking a lot like Alan Moore, is talking to Ellie, and she's like, that's it, dude, you self-righteous piece of shit. Like, you're so in over your own head, up your own ass, like you think your writing is some godsend where you literally created everything, brought it into here, and you're like the godfather of modern comic books. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? It's my story. Why are you such an asshole about all this? And she's just yelling at him. It's like, you're trying to write a love story and simultaneously ruin the entire world. Like, what's wrong with you, man, you arrogant prick? Like, that's a little tongue-in-cheek, even for me. I'm just like, okay, we get it. I get as a writer, when you're writing about yourself, you're going to take the piss out of yourself. I get that. Sometimes it just gets a little too in over its head. I do like this scene where him and Ellie are talking. It does get kind of annoying, where it's this classic, like, you meet your creation and the creation hates you. I get it. I write like that too. I have stories that are pretty much this. I get it. And I think it's hard to capture right. This is not the most egregious version of that, so it's fine. And you just see Donnie's like, I am so proud of you. You're being a great guy. Look at this. You're such a good character. I'm such an original writer. Look at you. Fully fledged on your own. Just insane. He's like, try to get some sleep. You know, the pillows here are shit. So she sees like a note that he left there under the pillow. And it's like, I need you to help me write the ending to this thing. I don't know what the ending is. They want an ending. When I write the ending, it'll all be over. But I don't know anymore. Life and comics have literally blended into one. I don't know what's happening. And we see that the Powers people are taking Ryan's father away, trying to lock him up. One of the agents is like, what are you doing? This guy has nothing to do with this. They see Ryan in one of the stalls. And basically we see that the Powers guy has his powers come back. Again, I don't know. It's the Powers guys. You get it. You've read comic books. You get it. Read more comics, loser. It's a line in here. So basically, they get another tip like, well, we know a nice on source who might have a little bit of information on the big going on here. So we take the Powers people. We're going to head out to some new location, just a big old baseball field somewhere. Meet our new source who might have some information on how we can stop this. Just figure out like, hey, who's your contact? Who's the contact? Ryan's father has this contact who could potentially give them some more information, potentially lead them down more cases. Basically, it's like, okay, who's your big contact here? When we step onto this baseball field, who's going to be the person who's like the man behind the curtain, who's like the behind the scenes guy that's going to help us out? Well, this guy isn't overly fond of the police. And he's got a few too many swears in his mouth, and we get a nice page reveal that working with the church man who hates every comic book is none other than, I would say, legendary comic book villain, Negan. Now, you'll notice Negan does not have the classic comic books design that the other characters do with the dots as they're coloring. Either he's in makeup, or Negan's found a way to break through in his own way, or this isn't Negan. Either way, great pull. Again, I've said this from day one too. You're doing a book about comic books, it's more impactful if you don't use Marvel and DC characters, because this is a love letter to comic books. Those characters have transcended the medium. Even The Walking Dead's transcended it, but Negan's a great comic book villain. You know, the Powers people, they had a TV show on the PlayStation Network. They're great comic book characters. Donny Cates, while he's doing a God Country movie, he's a comic book writer. So telling those stories in this bubble, it works really well, and there's a lot of this issue I think is cool. There's certain things in here that I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. The Donny Cates stuff, I do it too, man. Like, I can't be mad at him for doing this because I would do it too. I'm sure there's other writers who'd be like, oh no, yeah, I would do this too. I get it. I don't think it's a bad thing. Sometimes, like, it's a little obvious, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, and it's a little too much for my liking, but I can't hate him for doing it. I respect him for doing it because it's definitely a story I think should be told. Just making this a little bit crazy. That's kind of cool. I like the introduction to Negan. I like the use of the Powers characters. I like how Ellie just goes, shut up, dude. Like, what is wrong with you for writing this shit? It's all good. It all works really well. It flows very fantastically. I do like what we're seeing here. So sometimes this book loses me. Other times I'm like, I get it, man. You're doing some good work. This is one of those times where I'm impressed with the outcome. Is it the best thing we've seen? No, not at all. I think there's been better issues in this book. I'm liking this arc, though. I think it's very fascinating, and we'll have to wait and see what goes forward. So I will continue to cover this book and tell you if it's interesting or not. So crossover issue number 11. I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.